Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here today. Sorry for the late start. My apologies to you all. We're here today to talk about a show we are promoting on the 9th of May at the Wembley Arena in London, and we thank Frederick's Restaurant today for hosting the press conference to announce it. The show will feature Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr., not against each other, in separate fights. Billy Joe will be having a fight, hopefully before he fighting the winner of Andy Lee and Quillen. He was supposed to fight in the States on the 11th of April, but unfortunately sustained an injury, and that's why he didn't travel. So now we're keeping him busy by giving him a fight on the 9th of May. We had hoped to announce the opponent this morning, but we can't do that. We will do that later on this afternoon once we get the confirmation back from America that the contract we sent is signed. Also on the card, in the joint and main event, is Chris Eubank Jr., who will be defending his interim WBA World Middleweight title against Les Sheringham from Australia. He's had, like both of these guys, they've had some tough fights, their last few fights. Bill, I think, has fought 6 or 7 undefeated fighters on the spin. I think that's the amount it is. So, as I say, he's done everything that's been asked of him. 21-0, perfect record. And young Christopher, as we know, last year fought against Bill and lost a points decision, and has subsequently become the interim WBA champion, done brilliantly in his last fight. So he's out there and he's, as I say, be defending that title against Sherrington. Sherrington, I believe, will give him a solid fight. He's a decent, solid performer. He has a win over Shannon Taylor. And obviously I want to see these two guys get to a situation by the end of the year that they fight each other in a rematch. In the meantime, hopefully Bill comes back with a WBO title, and then we've got an amalgamation or unification of titles. So that's what we're working to do with the two guys. There's an era at the moment developing again in the middleweight division, which I think goes back to what the sort of glory and heydays of the late 80s and 90s when Chris's dad was fighting, Nigel Benn. We're in a similar situation now with what's going on with these two guys and a few of the other middleweights that are around. So hopefully we'll get to a stage where we're going to see some of them exciting fights that we had back in those times amongst some of the middleweights in the UK at the moment. In the meantime, they've got to keep winning their fights before we get this unification on. Also on the card will be Frank Buglioni defending his WBO European title, Bradley Skeet, Mitchell Smith, and amongst others. So it's a cracking little show that we're looking forward to putting on, and looking forward to, as I say, the guys coming through so that we can then move on to a much bigger stage in the next year with a huge fight, and I think that's certainly going to be happening. Anyway, we've got the guys here, and we've got Chris's manager and trainer Ronnie Davis. So if you've got any questions to ask, please feel free to do so.
Have you seen much of Sherrington?
I found out, I heard his name today, so don't know who he is, don't know what he's about.
That's his record.
I was told I was supposed to be fighting a man called Spike O'Sullivan, who has been gunning for me for the last 2 years, and apparently he's pulled out. His management team don't want to fight. I don't know the full story, but now they're telling me I'm fighting this guy from Australia. It really doesn't matter. I'm not interested in any of those guys. I'm interested in the rematch with the man sitting across from me in the pink shirt, and that's what I'm working towards. That's all I care about is redeeming my loss.
Pink shirt's all the win still on my record.
Are you keen to do a rematch as soon as possible, or
Listen. I gave him a shot. I was a champion. He didn't deliver. He had the mouth. I beat him. I'm cashing on my world title shot now. This is what happens. You get rewards when you're in big fights and you come victorious. My reward is WBO world title. I will get that. I will be a man to my word. I said I'll give him a rematch. When I get it, we sit down on my terms and we do the rematch. Yeah, not a problem. And I'll beat him more easier this time than I did last time.
Are you expecting Andy Lee to beat you?
To be fair, it's a 50-50 fight, you know. Quillen's not really been hit on the chin, he's not really been tested. I'm sure Andy Lee will. You know, Andy Lee's been in some tough fights himself, so, you know, it's a 50-50 fight.
And
That world title fight, would it be in America if Peter Quillen wins? Or
if Andy Lee wins, it'll be in the UK. And you think Andy Lee, you sort of talk about this 90s situation again with the middleweights. It's a bit like Steve Collins. He's like the modern day Steve Collins, you know, from that point of view, and he adds spice to the situation. I hope he wins, and I think, like Bill says, it's a 50-50 fight. Whatever happens, at the end of the day, we've got a great, you know, some really great fights can be made here amongst all these guys, and they are, you know, they're quality young fighters. They're the best around. They've livened up this division in a big way. So let's keep our fingers crossed that Andy Lee wins and they all keep winning.
Frank, what happened with Spike?
Spike O'Sullivan was offered the fight by my matchmaker. They agreed terms. Subsequently, they came back and demanded astronomical money that if he were to beat Chris, or not him, his manager came back for astronomical money after we agreed terms, and it just wasn't viable. We're not going down that road, and it's a shame really, because Spike's a nice guy, and you know, we promoted him for a long time.
Is
and
he? I didn't know that.
Sorry?
He's a nice guy, huh?
Well, he's a nice guy.
Have you seen what he's been saying to me?
No, I
for the
don't.
last
I
2
don't
years
get. I
on
don't. What's he
Twitter?
been saying? I don't see it.
The guy's obsessed. You know, the guy's, you know, it's like he's in love with me. He's tweeted me probably every week for the last 2 years, and you know, he now he gets his shot.
Well, you know, you'll do tend to tweet his manager.
Well, you know,
And then they can have it.
Talk, you know, the way he goes on. You know, he talks like he'd fight me for free, but now he's got his chance, and they can't do the fight because they're asking for too much money.
Yeah. So it got so it was agreed, and it's a shame really. But you know, he had his biggest payday ever. I'm sure if he looks at his pay packet, was against Bill, and this would have been up there, probably even a bigger one. So it's a shame for him, and it's a shame for you know, the public. So I think it's a fight they wanted to see, but that's what it is. His promoter is a guy who sings in a band called the was it what they called? What they called? Dropkick Murphy.
There was also some talk about Chuganov having a rematch clause. I think lads
No, there was no rematch clause at all. No.
Bill, did you see Chris' performance against Chuganov? It earned a lot of respect from fans from that performance. Did you see it?
Sorry, mate.
Did you see his fight against Chuganov where he won the belt?
Yeah, I was there. I was working on the night. I'll see bits of it. But you know, Chuganov is what he is. You know, he's a come-from swinger. You know, if he landed 10 punches on me with 12 rounds, I would be very upset. I think Chris made hard work of it. You know, I think that, you know, he done well to get him out there before the end of the round. But listen, he is what he is. He's not a class fighter, is he? Let's face it. He's been there. He got a draw patch from Mendy. He got on Max Maxwell. I think he just got beat by him. Yeah, I'll give him probably a 1 out of 10 performance for the opponent, but he got the win. That's the main thing.
Ronnie, what did you make of Chris's performance against Chuganov?
I thought he boxed really well. He put the weight back on properly for this fight, nice and strong. Yeah, I thought he boxed well.
What will you be working on moving forward?
Sorry?
What will you be working on with him moving forward?
What? How do you mean when we
In
work?
terms of the areas that you think he still needs to improve in?
Oh, he's alright as he is, just let him go, he'll be right. I don't work on nothing special. He's there, he knows what he's got to do, he'll be in the right spot, and he prepares as always. You know, fight's a fight. Bit old school me, like, but that's the way it is.